Hiya, buddy. It's Sunday. Had to get out of the house. It's what time? I think it's like 5:30 or 6. Yeah, I think it's about 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. 77 degrees. I took a nap this afternoon. I tell you, I got so hot. Um, just laying in bed, when I woke up, I'm just like, my gosh. And then I took off my shirt and I laid there in bed and I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, because it was so bizarre that I could actually feel the heat coming off my core and my shoulders and my chest. I was like, this is wild. And I don't know if it had to do, which I was sitting there thinking about that. I was just like, I wonder what could have caused that. Well, about an hour and a half before I laid down, I had made my protein shake, with blueberries, peanut butter, honey, strawberries, banana. These are all fresh too, by the way, and spinach. Um, and then I put a scoop of protein powder in. And of course, eggnog, because eggnog's out now. So I have eggnog. So I'm like, okay, so I put eggnog and then non-fat milk in. So I was like thinking, I wonder if there was so many vitamins and minerals in that drink, because when I was looking back on it, reflecting back on yesterday and the day before that, um, because this has always been my drink, but I kind of increased well, I changed the protein mix, and it's kind of interesting how you can immediately tell, at least I can tell immediately in my body, uh, of eating, when it's in my protein shake and how it affects my body. And so this is muscle milk I got this time, and I've noticed that it must be the magnesium and phosphorus and stuff like that. Because when you think of magnesium, it's like in that first movie of um, uh, what's his name? Going into the inner earth. Um, and then the second one they made was Journey to Atlantis or whatever. Journey to the Center Earth 2. But the first one, where they go into that cave and they go into the earth, and there's this big dinosaur there, and they're, like there's light, and they're on the seas and stuff. But the magnesium that was in the pipes, the volcanic pipes, when he struck it uh, with the rock, it kind of took a big spark and did a big explosion. So when I think of magnesium, that's what I think of. And remember, I did a video a while back about our bones are made up of. Oh no, I didn't. I think I said it, but I didn't go through all the everything that our bones are made of. And they were talking about magnesium, calcium, phosphorus. Um, I think it was sodium or something else, but there's 12 of them. And the interesting thing about, when we look at scriptures about the 12 tribes, when we think of tribes, I think that we need to start actually looking at the kingdom of God, which is our body. And when we look at the kingdom and trying to figure out the bone structure, just like on iPet Go 2, that shows the skeleton man is actually the orchestrator of the thing. So it's our bones that are orchestrating our body, our life. It's the foundation, right? And God's our foundation. So God must be Mr. Bones, right? It's so interesting when you start looking at it. And going back to the 12, you got the 12 minerals and vitamins that sustain our bones. You got on the 12th week, and the baby that's in the fetus in the mother's womb. You've got up to 12 weeks. Well, from the day, from conception to the 12th week mark, it's forming in the golden ratio. And it's the X chromosome. So remember, the Y chromosome doesn't kick in until the 12th week, which is the SRY chromosome. So the X and Y chromosome is me, right? The male body. The female has the XX. So when looking at my body, I have half my genes are female. That's why everybody was born with nipples. That's why when I was, through my life journey, I mentioned this a long time ago, is when I was young, probably about 9 years old. I was in second grade, third grade, something like that. And I was standing in the bathroom. My mom went to the bathwater for me, and I was standing up. I went and jumped up on this vanity thing, and I was standing up in the mirror looking at myself. And I was going, God, where's my boobs? Where's this? It was like my past life. It was like my soul was looking at my body, and I was like, I'm in the wrong body. Why am I in the wrong body, God? And then my mom, she goes, are you in the bathtub yet? And so I scrambled down off the counter, right, and get into the bathtub. But it's kind of interesting when I look back and reflect back on my life, and then where I am today. I understand why I had that feeling. And when we look at the people today, all these guys are saying, I was born into the wrong body, I feel like I'm female. Well, it's quite interesting because the fetus grows the first 12 weeks of its life with the female consciousness, this female growth. It's the foundation of Adam. So bizarre, right? Because that's what started out the golden ratio, was the female, the X chromosome. So anyway, now where I'm at today, I understand. Of course, I've known it for about a couple of years now. Well, I didn't know about the 12 week of the chromosomes, but now it's like once I put that piece of the puzzle in, it's like, I'm reflecting back and going backwards. I'm like, I kind of always knew that there was a female part of me, and it was my female X gene. Because remember, I have the male body has 72,000 X chromosome and 72,000 Y chromosomes. You add both those numbers together, you have 144,000 electric, the electric charge, the two witnesses, right? The X and Y. And then when you look at a diagram, right, a graph, you got the X, which is lunar or horizontal, and then vertical is the Y. Interesting stuff, right? People just think this life is all about just worship and worship and worship. It's not. It's about learning. It's about discovering. It's, that's why this world and their movies and stuff, and even in the old times, because I like to watch like the 1950s and the 1960s Sherlock Holmes, they were more real compared to the ones in the, like Marvel Studios does, and they make it ridiculous. Absolutely, totally take it out of wax. Even though that he's being a detective and he's thinking about this stuff, it's not like back the original Sherlock Holmes or the older version, because they use the five senses. It's like what you see, what you smell, what you taste, or trying to decode by reading the words backwards. Remember, I told you Hebrew, our first language, is right to left. English is left to right. So, again, it's just backwards. Our language is backwards. So that means our world is backwards. That means our teachings is backwards. But how do you describe that? I know my cigarette keeps going out because I'm talking so much, but that's just who I am. I like to talk. haven't been really able to talk. I got a chance to talk the other day to a friend of mine. um, he came over and we chatted, and I've got that big map on my wall, and he likes when he comes over and he stands there and points out, because he come from Georgia over to Oregon, and he was telling me about the way he goes and how he went over across and stuff. And it's quite interesting because listening to him describe his drive over and about the mountains, because when I start driving up too high into the mountains, or when there's like these big cliffs on the side of the road, drop offs, or going over these bridges over water, especially these big bridges, long bridges, I get like claustrophobic or something. It feels like I'm just going to fall off or fall in, even though I'm not driving in. I'm just driving straight, but it's that feeling. I think it come upon me just all of a sudden, because I was able to drive anyway. I love road trips. Actually, I was always driving on road trips because I love to drive. But all of a sudden, just one day, it just kicked in. And he said when on his way over, everything was flatlands until he got over to like Minnesota, Idaho, and stuff like that, in Oregon. He goes, boy, I was freaking out. And so as he was telling me that, I was just like, that's me. I don't know what it is. He goes, me neither. Because I don't know what happened. But he goes, I drove everywhere. He goes, but boy, that was freaking me out. So again, I think it has something to do with, it could have something to do with the foods that we're eating, because when it happened to me, I was still going to college. And I even talked to a guy there in college that was telling me that, he was going through the same thing as well. But there's a lot of hoodlums around here. But anyway, I'll make this quick. I just want to do a little chat and enjoy the sun before it goes down. And I did take some pictures of my face, these images, because I think they're changing. And this one is looking just a little bit different. This one I have a harder time trying to figure out what's unfolding here lately, but I can definitely see the bigger face on the bigger scale. And on this side as well, the bigger face with the big eyes and stuff. And I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, I noticed there's a big eyeball down here, but there's also a big eyeball down here too. So that's another thing I've been working on my research too, because, I got the big eyeball on my chest and on my belly. What do those eyeballs, and on my nose, what do these eyeballs mean? Some of them have faces, some of them are just single eyes, just one big eye. So I'm sure there's some type of symbolic reason or meaning to it. I just haven't found it yet, but I'm sure I will find it. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope your weekend was great, and I hope your night is great. Take care. And I'll see if I can pull out some of these images on my face and see what else is happening, and get that uploaded if you're interested. If you're not, I'm still just going to document it for my purposes. Bye.